want to point out to you the different size dowels that you'll have in your bag here. It's important to separate them out so that they don't accidentally get mixed up because you can see they a couple of them look similar in size. So your smallest ones, which you'll have the fewest of, I think you'll only have like one or two of these, are 1/4 inch. Okay. Then the next one up, these are a little bit bigger, and you'll only have about 3 or 4 of these, and put those aside as well. Okay. Then you're going to have a whole bunch of these 1/2 inch ones. Um, 21, probably a few extras in there. Okay. And then finally the 5/8. This is the largest. You'll have at least 3 of them, maybe 4. Okay. So hang on to the oddball sizes. And so I would separate out this one, the 1/4 inch, this one, and this one. Just kind of keep these sizes together, and then the rest of these 1/2 inch ones, which I'll have the most of, you can keep those in a separate pile. That'll be less likely that you'll confuse them, but always make sure that you have the correct dowel for your whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay, so for next step here, we're going to want our sanding block. We're going to want our backboard. We're going to keep our dowels on standby. I have sorted out my really long ones and my really short one that we'll need. And then I'm going to have all of my remaining 1/2 inch ones, or my 4/8. Okay, so sanding, I've already done that on this just to save time, but you'll want to sand in the direction of the grain, which should be going this way. And make sure that when you're sanding, you can just sand on this side, and this is the side we're going to see. So make sure that you see this big hole here, that this is on the right, and that you have this oriented in front of you, just as you see it here. Okay, because otherwise, if you do it backwards, it's going to be, well, a mess, to be quite honest. So we want to stick with just this side. So go ahead and you can sand it really good, and when you're done, it should feel nice and smooth. Okay, just do that across the entire surface until you feel that it feels pretty nice. And then this feels pretty smooth here. So I just get all the sawdust off of it. Okay, and we're going to first glue in the shortest one. Okay, so I'm going to find that one, and that shortest one's going to go right there. Okay, now these don't fit really tight inside these holes. I understand that, and that's okay. We're going to be doing a couple steps with this, but it was easiest to make them so that they fit like this. I'm not going to get into that, but as far as putting the glue on, what I'm going to just use is my finger instead of the Q-tip, and I'm just going to kind of put a little bit around the edge there. Okay, and then we're just going to sink it into that hole. Okay, now I should have mentioned this, but if you have your damp rag, you might want that just in case you get a bunch of glue around the outside edge. Okay, that might affect its appearance later. So I'm just going to set that in there for now, and then I'm going to jump to my really the largest ones. These are the 5/8. Just do the same thing. Put a little around, sink it into the hole. Make sure that it goes in all the way to the other side. Okay, which I can see that it did. Okay, and then again, you can wipe off any excess, but you want to make sure that you do get all the excess. Don't just smear it around. You want to get yourself a nice and damp rag so that you can get any of that out of there. Okay. Don't worry if the board gets wet, that's fine. Then we're going to take another one. I'm not going to keep you through this whole thing, but we'll just watch me do a few of these. Okay. Okay, that one pushed in. I'll come back and wipe that up in a minute. Put a little bit on the outside, just a little bit. Okay. And that one's going to go down here. Okay, so I got my smallest one here, and then these are the 5/8, the next 3 largest ones. Okay, wipe any of that stuff up. Then I'll look just to make sure that it made it through to the other side. Just had to get that rinsed off. Okay, and just look just to make sure that they came through. I suppose if you wanted to, you can wipe that off, though it's the back. We're not going to see that. Okay. All right, so we got those 3 in. So that's going to leave the remaining holes here for the 1/2 inch or 4/8. Okay, so you'll glue all of these in the same way. Okay, so I'm just putting in the last of the 1/2 inch ones. And one thing you want to do is just make sure that they're straight up and down. And then I was just wiping up the glue. Okay, so after you're done with this, we're going to flip it. And we're just going to make sure that those are going through all the way to the other side. And then I do want to just really pay attention to make sure that these are all poking straight up. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the back. Looks like this one might need to come down a touch. Okay. These should all be basically flush with the back side. Okay. Okay, so once I have those all nice and in place, I am going to not disturb it. I'm just going to leave it set right there. I am going to continue to do a bit of work on here. I'm going to glue in these pieces here, but I can leave it sit in front of me, and as long as I don't disturb these things, they'll set up just fine. All right, so next we're going to locate these pieces here. Should have a total of 4 pieces that look like this. And we'll start with the longest one. That's going to go up there. And to glue this one in, you can't goof this up. Okay, so it can go in either way. So pick one. That's good. As far as putting glue on it, I'm going to resort to my finger. I can say I like it a little bit better than the Q-tips because I feel like I have a little more control. And I'm just going to smear it just a little bit. We don't need to overdo it here. Just put a little glue along the surfaces that are going to come in contact with the backboard. Okay. And of course I have a wet, or I should say pretty damp rag that I'm going to use in case any glue comes out. I'll go ahead and stick that in and just kind of push that down. Okay. Wet. This is pretty moist here, and I'm just going to wipe off any of that excess glue. Okay. And make sure that it is pushed down in there all the way. Okay. If you need to look at the back, you should be able to see that this is flush as it comes through. Okay. So we'll just kind of set it there for now. And then we're going to fit in this piece next. Now, I will point out, this is only really going to go in there one way because it's going to, otherwise it'll hit that dowel. So you'll find actually that this groove is bigger than the male portion that's right here. Okay. This is the correct way for putting it in. Okay. So again, just put some glue on the surfaces that are going to end up touching the backboard. Don't have to go crazy with the glue, just a nice thin layer. Put on too much, you're just going to end up wiping it out. Okay. All right, so get it back in there. Oops, wrong way. Okay. And then again, I'm going to grab my towel, get that wiped off. And the main thing here is we want these things to be perpendicular to the backboard. Okay, so I have it pushed in and it's pointed straight up at you. It's not off at a little bit of an angle or anything. It's nice and straight up. Okay, I may need to, well, it'll probably help when I'm all done putting the rest of them in to just lay something flat on that to help hold it. We're going to end up doing some more on the back side with it later, but for now, this is going to do. Okay, this part here, you do need to look and be careful here because if you put it in the wrong way, it'll overextend on this edge, and that's bad. Okay, so make sure, again, if you have it in this way, if you look carefully, it's overhanging. That's bad. It has to be in just like that. Okay, so this edge is right up and equal to the end. Okay. All right, so same thing. Put a little glue on, and then when you're putting this on, just make darn sure that it's going in the right way. And I'm gonna look and, yep, double check it. So yeah, see how that's flush there. Okay, not overhanging the edge at all. That's incorrectly. Then go ahead and wipe it off. This is pretty loose in there, but we will take care of that later. This first glue up's just going to kind of help us hold everything into position. If you move anything, fix it. Okay, so that's good. The last piece, not going to matter how you put it in. Okay, put a little bit of glue on the edge. I put a little on the side here too. All right. And then finally get that wiped up, and then you can get yourself probably a book or something like that. Set it on top. Okay, that looks good. So I'm gonna grab one of my books here. And I got all these upright. Just gonna gently set that on. And that's it.